welcome to the latest video in European Elite, where we look at some of the best players to have played in the European game of volleyball over the last 20 years or so. Three people alongside me today are going to pick the top 5 non-Europeans who've played in the men's game over the last 20 years. 3 great guests, 2 of them celebrating their birthdays. One man who's not is Roberto Piazza. Roberto, good to see you. How are you?
I'm happy to be here, and thanks for invitation. Hello to everyone.
The first man celebrating his birthday is Mark Lebedew, formerly coach of the Australian national team and plenty of experience as well in Poland and Germany. Mark, you okay?
I'm great, thanks. Great to be sharing this day with Stelian and everybody else.
Yeah, Stelian Molsecu, 70 today. How has it been so far?
It's okay, it's fine. It's very nice.
Of course, so much experience across the European game. It's going to be great to get your opinions on these 5 players in this video. Let's get straight to it. Let's start with Mark. Mark, who would you like to put forward as the first player that should be in this top 5 list?
Glad that I get to go first. I looked at this mostly, or not mostly, but a lot to do with the success of their teams, participation in Final Fours and things like that. And so for me, the first non-European player that really comes up here is Matt Anderson from the United States. Played 6 Final Fours in a row with Kazan, 4 gold medals and a silver, which is for a non-European by far the best success rate and participation rate. So he's also a great player. Can play as a receiver, as an opposite with Kazan. He's always been a receiver, playing with a lot of other great players. But for me, Matt Anderson is the #1 guy on this list.
What makes him so good as a player? You know, you say that he's flexible, but in terms of the actual core skills that he possesses, what makes him so good?
For me, he's a really good all-round player. He's a stable receiver, a good receiver. He might not be a second libero kind of player, but he's certainly not a weakness. He can attack really well, fast ball, high ball, pipe, and he has a really good serve. So he's a guy that can hurt you in a lot of ways. And when he's playing in a team with Mikhailov and Leon, often you focus all your attention on one of the other guys, and he sneaks up and gets acquired 25 and 3 aces and a couple of blocks, and he's been part of all those winning successful teams.
Stelian, is that a selection you would agree with?
Yes. I think Anderson it's a really outstanding player. He plays in Kazan really good. It's a player who plays in the national team and also in the clubs plays good, because we have a lot of players, they play only in the national team much better than he's playing in the club competition. And I'm agree with Mark that he's technically really good in attack, in pass, in serve. It's a smart player, and he has always a very good attitude on the court, not depending on the score. And
Roberto, is it going to be 3 out of 3? Do you agree?
No, I'm agree totally. I agree with Mark and with Stelian. I can say also that he played with all the setters that were in the world almost, and he played every time in high level. He was able to change the direction of the attack every time with all the setters that he played together. So, in my opinion, he's really the best one.
Okay, easy. Right, so our first player in the top 5 non-Europeans is Matt Anderson of the United States. 4 Champions League gold medals with Zenit Kazan. Where are we going to go next? Let's go back to Roberto. Roberto, who would you like to pick as the second player in this list?
But the second player for me in this list is Bruno Rezende, the Brazilian setter. Why? Because he started really soon with his father in the national team. He played together with Ricardinho, but later everyone were not afraid, but no, everyone were really happy because in Brazil about the decision of Bernardo, because it was his son. But he proved on the court that he was really the best one in distribution. He was the really team player. He was able to improve again the level of Brazil. And also he started to play in Italy. He won a championship in Modena. He won a championship in Lube. In my opinion, was a key player for the team.
Mark, next to you, is that someone you'd have in your list as well?
I agree with everything that Roberto says about what a great player Bruno is. There's no question about that. If I'm going to look just at performances in Champions League, then I don't think that he's played as much as some of the other guys on the list with the success that he's had. So for my second player, I would actually go with Rafa Oliveira from Brazil, who was in the Trento teams that were, not all of them, but some of the successful Trento teams, and also with Halkbank, and really good setter, really good technical setter, the perfect setter for the system of play of Stoichev, and a really nice player with a lot of success.
And let's go to Stelian. Who's your next selection?
Oh, it's not easy. It's not easy. I think maybe he don't play so perfect in the clubs, but Volley-ball was a player. How I say, you can see that he leads the team. Maybe he was not so sophisticated like Bruno or so, but he was, in my opinion, more precise in the setting, and his whole attitude on the court and beside the court was that what I like, how he's playing. Yeah. And he was a player who always in developing. I think his tops was between 30 and 35, and then he was a really complete, with good block, with good serve, with good defense, with really creative. Okay, in this time maybe they don't play so fast as now, but I like him.
Okay, so one vote each there for Volley-ball, Bruno and Rafael de Oliveira as well. Okay, let's go to a next player. Let's go back to Mark. And who would be your next pick on this list?
I'm going to add my voice to Stelian's. I have Volley-ball actually as my number 2 non-European in Champions League. He was really good player, dominating personality in the first 10 years of Champions League, and he played in Final Fours with 3 different clubs and was in five finals. He only won one time with Kazan, but for me, he's really everything that Stelian said, and really for me, a dominating personality in the Champions League game for that first 10-year period. So I have another vote for Volley-ball there.
Okay. And Roberto, in your sauna, are you going to make it 3 votes as well?
No, for me, there's no problem, because Volley-ball is a part of volleyball, in my opinion. He changed a little bit volleyball, but was in the first period, from 2000 to 2010. And why I put Bruno, because he started in that period and he still play now, no? But I totally agree. Loi was one of the best setter in the world, and maybe one of the key team in the world in that moment. So we can put absolutely Loi on the second position. There's no problem.
Okay.
I'm totally agree with Stelian. I'm totally with all the coaches that Loi changed the volleyball, and also he was leading the team as well. So good position.
Okay, so 2 out of 2 so far, Matt Anderson and Lloyd Ball, both Americans in this team. Mark, what is it about American players that make them so good in volleyball?
It's difficult to generalize, I think, because you can say the same thing about Brazilians or Serbians or Italians or whatever. They all have a lot of good players. One thing is that the American national team has been strong for this whole period. So the best players come to Europe as professionals to make their living. So those players, and I have another one still to come on my list. You know, they're able to play in the top clubs. They're able to be decisive players in championships. So that's the main thing. I've had the opportunity to work with quite a few Americans, and they have a really great mentality, a really good competitive mentality, and they're for me, obviously, we have a language in common as well, which helps as well, which helps too.
Okay, well, you said there's another American in your list. Who's next?
I have Clay Stanley also on the list. He did, of course, well, not of course, he did most of his work together with Lloyd Ball. They played in Iraklis and in Kazan together. They had a lot of success. Clay was a guy who has a Final Four MVP and some Best Server awards, and he's another one of those guys who really put their stamp on some Final Four tournaments. And for me, he's the third guy on my list if there's an order, big for those reasons.
Okay, back to Stelian. Is that another player you would like to include in your list?
Yes, I'm totally agree with Mark. On this list is not another player who can compare with Stanley, so that he was a very powerful, how I say, he was not with a lot of skills, but he has a crazy power, yeah? And he's hitting very fast the ball, very, very fast. And I know that my first contact with the Americans, it was impressive.
And Roberto?
Of course, we have to be agree. Also because Clayton Stanley, in my opinion, was a little bit lucky because he played every time with Lloyd Ball, every time, everywhere, in national team, in Kazan, in Iraklis. They were together every time. And I think that the relationship between the setter and the opposite was amazing also for this reason, because they were together every time. So I'm agree too.
Yeah, he was top scorer in the Champions League in back-to-back years in 2005 and 2006. He amassed so many points, but you know they actually got silver medals in both of those. So it just shows how well he did, even though they didn't win those competitions. So Clayton Stanley, we're agreeing, goes into the list as well. So now we've got 3 Americans: Matt Anderson, Lloyd Ball, and Clayton Stanley. Let's go next to Stelian Molsecu. Who is your next selection in this top 5?
Oh, difficult, but I think Sergio as libero, because okay. I think this guy changed the role. He makes the role of the libero a really important role in a team, and great player, great passer, great defender, and then I think he can play also a setter. If you has problems with your setter, he can. I think he was able to play this position also. His attitude on the court, the fighting spirit. I think we have only one player in Europe now. Is Grebenikov. He's similarly like him. So that for me it's one of the important player, and he makes, in my eyes, he makes the first time he opened my eyes that a libero can do more than to have another color of a trick of a shot.
What makes Brazilian players so special to work with?
The Brazilian player, I have one or two players. They like to play. Yeah, it was a team who, when they are together as Brazilian national team, you see they have joy, they have fun to play. It was really amazing. It's not a ball that he let fall down. It was a culture, a volleyball culture that Brazilian teams. But it's the same you can say also about the American. That is, they have his one structure, his way to play volleyball. Yeah.
Okay. Roberto, who is your next nomination?
I agree with Stelian. I was thinking about Sergio from the beginning because he has to be in the list, in my opinion. He changed exactly the rules about libero. He started to be maybe the first one that could change the game. Like Stelian said now, Grebennikov is changing in the same way the game now. He's able to change something. He's able to keep one ball on defense, or he's able to lead the team on reception. He's able to change the position in the court. But like no European one, I think that Sergio changed a lot. And also in the national team, but also in Piacenza. When he was in Piacenza, they didn't win the Champions League, but he was with the team. And I'm totally agree, stop, because Stelian presents everything really good.
You say he changed the game as a libero. Is that because of the skill set he has personally, or you think the way he has been coached growing up?
Bravo. It is the way like he was in the team. He was enjoying the game. He was the protagonist in the team in that moment. He was able to change also, in my opinion, the mind of the team players, no? So when you are able to control this kind of situation, you are able also to change the game.
Okay. And Mark, is Serginho someone you could include in your top 5?
I have to admit that after I had 4 pretty easily, so I was pretty comfortable with Anderson, Ball, Stanley, and Rafa, and then I start to the list of players that is so great. You can go back to sort of guys like Gomez in the sort of 2001, 2002 range, and Tom Hoff, and who had some success. I looked a lot at Dante in Modena and Moscow, had some really good seasons in Champions League. DeCecco also I have as one of that possibility for 5th, but I'm definitely happy with accepting the advice of my colleagues and selecting Sergio. There's certainly no way that you can go wrong if Sergio's in your team. He's a wonderful player, wonderful personality. He has a really great backstory coming from the favelas, and I'm more than happy to have Sergio in my team.
Excellent. So first South American in our top 5 players to go with the trio of Americans, Matt Anderson, Lloyd Ball, and Clayton Stanley. Right, we've got 1 place left in our top 5 before we rank them from 5th to 1st. Stelian, who is your 5th nomination?
My 5th nomination, I think we have to go with Giba. It's my opinion. Giba, I have to say to Giba, maybe Giba was in the Brazilian national team, especially if he's playing with Ricardinho together. He was great. His how I say, in the clubs in Europe was not as the highest level like in the Brazilian national team, but the way he is playing, he was a great defender. He was a very good receiver, good server, and in attack with Ricardinho, he was amazing. What he's doing with the ball, the rhythm of the game, from the rhythm of the ball from Ricardinho. I think no one can hit the ball so good like Giba, but I like him as player, and for this, his prestation in Europe was not on highest level. Or no in Italy, no in, but I like this kind of player.
Okay. Roberto?
I prefer to stay with my setter, with Bruno, not because I spoke before about Bruno. I agree totally with Stelian about Giba, because also was a player that could change the game more in the national team than in the club. Also Dante Amaral was in the same level, no? Like before Mark said, Dante was amazing, sometimes in Modena, sometimes also in Dinamo. I was together with him in Dinamo Moscow when we won the championship. But I think that Bruno has to be in the top 5.
Okay. So now we have one vote each for Bruno. We have Giba and Rafael Vieira de Oliveira. Guys, somehow we've got to decide who should be in the top 5. Is anyone willing to let one of the other players come in instead?
Okay, I go with Bruno.
Okay.
I say it's okay because Rafa was very good. He's playing really good in Trento, but Bruno is playing over a longer time, also in the clubs, also in the national team, a really important role. And I have with Bruno only one. It's no problem, but only one thinks that he's very sophisticated. He plays very, very quick, but sometimes what the precision of the balls, of the settings, especially in position 4, it's not every time on highest level, to say it so.
Okay, Mark, I know you're celebrating your birthday as well, but can we let the older statesman in this discussion have his way?
I think I'm older than Roberto.
Sorry, not Roberto. Stelian. Sorry, Stelian.
Very close. Bruno, I was in Berlin last year for the Super Finals. Bruno was amazing in that game, like he is in so many other big games. So it's one of those things where we could pick. I mean, we could. There's a lot of guys who are a really high level. We can't go wrong really with any of them. I'm very happy to have Bruno on my team. He's a player that I love. He's a great leader. I did one of these other kind of lockdown exercises where we drafted a team, and Bruno was my first choice in the first round. So I'm more than happy to go to war with Bruno.
Okay. So can we agree that Bruno can be in our top 5?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Perfect. Right. So we have our 5 names now: Matt Anderson, Lloyd Ball, Bruno, Sergio Santos, and Clayton Stanley. Now we've got to order them from 5 to 1. I'm guessing maybe Bruno is number 5 because that caused so much discussion between you. Is that fair?
For me, it's okay.
If we have to rank them, we have to be somewhere. So
okay,
we can say
it's difficult to make a ranking from these 5 guys. I think it's impossible for me. They can be. Yeah, we can try it, but it's like I don't know.
Okay, let's try and do it in reverse then. Let's try and pick the best player, the best non-European out of the 5 names we've selected. Who is your number 1 pick, Roberto?
No, number 1 sure stay Matt Anderson in the number 1, but because he played like we spoke before, no, he played with all the setters in the world.
Yes,
he was good. He was good everywhere. Since Vibo Valencia, for example, when he was in Italy, I think that he has to stay on the first position.
Yes.
And Mark, is that okay for you?
He's the guy that I topped off the program with, so I have no reason to change now.
Perfect.
Especially
So
when
Matt
the others have
Anderson,
already
number
agreed.
1. So we have three more to pick. Number 2, where does Volley-ball sit in that position, Mark?
I have Lloyd Ball there second for all of the reasons I said before, as a personality, the quality, the success, just with the clubs. Was thinking when the other guys were talking about Stanley and Ball together, that maybe if we called them one single player, we could sneak in another guy into our top 5. But I think Loy is just a tick ahead of play.
Okay, so now we just have to separate Sergio Santos and Clayton Stanley for number 3 and 4 position. Roberto, who would you like to put as the 3rd best player?
Difficult to say Clayton or Sergio, because Clayton was, like now also said Mark, no, was every time together with Lloyd, and maybe Lloyd was able to control Clayton, no. But Sergio changed a lot the rule about inside the game. He changed totally volleyball, in my opinion. So maybe it's better for me, it's better to put Sergio on the 3rd position and Clayton on the 4th position. But it's just my idea.
I'm totally agree. I'm totally agree with Sergio on the 3rd position here, because he was one who is changing a lot. And I'm totally agree with Roberto that he was the man who developed the volleyball more than Clayton or another one.
And Mark, would that be a final ranking that would be okay for you?
I will officially vote against it, but only to create some controversy. But I will reluctantly accept the wishes of my colleagues.
But I think what you're saying overall is that, you've got 5 amazing players there. They could be ranked in so many different orders. It's just showing how good the non-Europeans have played in Europe over the years.
There's no question. We could choose different ways of ranking them. We could choose on awards, on medals, on appearances, and each time we would come up with a different list of 5. If we're just talking about the quality of the player, then we have 12 guys from our list who you couldn't separate them except by arbitrary ranking. So Sergio 3rd, Clay Stanley 4th, no problem at all.
Guys, that's it. We've done it. We've got our 5. In 5th place, Bruno. 4th, Clayton Stanley. Sergio in 3rd. Lloyd Ball in 2nd. And the man that you've picked as the best non-European to have played in Europe over the last 20 years, Matt Anderson of the United States. 3 Americans, 2 Brazilians. It's hard to sum up overall. But Mark, is there something that Europeans as a whole give you in a volleyball team that non-Europeans don't, and vice versa?
The thing that I love about club volleyball is the way that the combinations of personalities and the different schools of volleyball and the different skills and mentalities, the way they come together to create something different. In national teams, you have everybody has their certain way of playing that stays pretty static over a longer period of time, but the clubs are a real melting pot of, like I said, skills and personalities and styles, and that's what I love about about club volleyball. It's what I love about Champions League, when all of those different mixtures come together and play against each other. Why Champions League is my favorite competition of all the volleyball events, and Brazilians and Americans and Australians, and bring all of their individual flavors to the game, and that's what makes the game great.
That's the perfect summary. I think that's the perfect way to end. Stelian, Mark, Roberto, fantastic to have you with us today. Stelian and Mark especially, go and enjoy the rest of your day. Have you got any plans today for the birthdays?
Thank you. What?
Do you have any birthday plans for today?
No, the plans are like Corona. We have problems with Corona. Otherwise, we had plans so that it comes. I have a schedule. Only each 2 hours comes some people, some friends, and so that it's a long day for me.
Okay. Well, the phone is going. It sounds like lots of people trying to get in contact.
I have to stop it a lot of time, but it's no problem.
We'll let you go and enjoy. Mark as well. Have a fantastic day. And Roberto, thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you soon.
Bye bye.
See you,
Ciao.
everyone.
Bye,
Thanks very
bye,
much.
bye, bye, bye.
Good luck for these 2 active coaches in the future.
Cheers,
Thanks,
guys.
Stelian.
Ciao, ciao.